August 1944, Hershey, Pennsylvania. The smell of chocolate overwhelmed the German prisoners entering the factory gates. For men who hadn't tasted real chocolate in 3 years, the scent alone was disorienting. This wasn't punishment or hard labor camp. American guards were escorting 50 German POWs into the largest chocolate factory any of them had ever seen for work assignments producing Hershey bars. The factory foreman informed them through interpreters that each production line manufactured approximately 100,000 chocolate bars daily, more chocolate than Germany's entire remaining industry produced in a month. The prisoners thought the translation must be wrong. Then the doors opened, and they saw the assembly lines. What these German POWs would discover over the following months, rotating through American food production facilities, would transform their understanding of why Germany had lost the war. The answer wasn't superior tactics or soldier courage. It was abundance on a scale that made German industrial capacity look medieval. These men would witness America's secret weapon, the ability to mass-produce luxury foods during total war, while simultaneously treating enemies better than their own government had treated them. The transformation was beginning, measured in chocolate bars, soft drinks, ice cream, and sugar. Products so abundant in America that prisoners could purchase them with pocket change and send them home to starving families in defeated Germany. By mid-1944, American labor shortages had become acute. War Department records show approximately 425,000 German prisoners were held in camps across the United States by 1945. Geneva Convention requirements permitted prisoner labor in non-military industries. Food production qualified. What American authorities didn't anticipate was the psychological impact of having enemy soldiers witness industrial abundance firsthand. The assignment system matched prisoners with industrial backgrounds to appropriate facilities. Men who had worked in factories received assignments to American plants, desperate for workers. The Hershey Chocolate Corporation, having lost significant workforce to military service, applied for POW labor allocation in July 1944. Authorization came through in August with strict conditions. Prisoners would work production lines only, receive standard camp wages of 80 cents daily, and operate under identical safety regulations as civilian employees. Transportation from Camp Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania to Hershey took 30 minutes by truck. The journey passed through the company town of Hershey, built around chocolate production. Street lamps shaped like Hershey kisses, well-maintained worker housing, parks and recreational facilities. An entire community dedicated to producing luxury food items, thriving while Germany starved. The contradiction challenged everything these prisoners had been taught about American industrial weakness. The Hershey factory floor was mechanized abundance. Production lines stretched hundreds of feet. Chocolate arrived from massive vats, was formed into bars, wrapped, packaged, and cased with minimal human intervention. The foreman's claim of 100,000 bars daily proved conservative. Company records from 1944 show the main plant produced approximately 250,000 standard bars daily across multiple lines, plus additional production of kisses, miniatures, and specialty products. German prisoners assigned to quality control positions on wrapping lines gained perfect vantage to observe the entire process. The scale was incomprehensible. Chocolate that would have been treasured in Germany moved past in endless streams. When wrappers jammed, lines stopped briefly. Chocolate was discarded. Production resumed. No one treated waste as tragedy. Discarded chocolate was routine industrial loss, factored into projections, replaced without concern. The chocolate itself arrived from mixing rooms where ingredients combined in enormous vats. The facility purchased milk from hundreds of local dairy farms, sugar from multiple refineries, cocoa from international suppliers through channels unaffected by submarine warfare. The supply chain demonstrated organizational capacity exceeding German military logistics. By the second week, prisoners learned the production statistics. The Hershey plant produced approximately 100 million pounds of chocolate annually. The company supplied massive quantities to the US military through special contracts. American soldiers received chocolate rations regularly. Some was included in K rations and D rations, emergency field provisions. The military considered chocolate standard equipment. The mathematics were devastating. A single American factory produced more chocolate in one day than entire German regions had consumed annually before the war. This wasn't slight advantage. This was different magnitude of industrial capability. American workers on the lines treated abundance as ordinary. During breaks, prisoners observed them in canteens drinking coffee with sugar and cream, purchasing candy bars from vending machines for 5 cents, complaining about minor inconveniences. The complaints themselves revealed the gap. Americans dissatisfied with abundance, Germans couldn't imagine. One documented incident captured the contrast. An American worker casually offered a German prisoner a Hershey bar fresh from production. The prisoner, who hadn't eaten real chocolate in over 3 years, accepted with trembling hands. He ate slowly, making it last, while the American watched with mild curiosity. For the American, giving away one chocolate bar was meaningless gesture. Production would replace it instantly. For the German, that single bar represented luxury, absent from his life for years. The facility also produced D-ration bars specifically for military use. These were designed not for taste, but functionality. Hard, heat-resistant, 600 calories in a 4-ounce bar. The military ordered these by the millions. American military planning included chocolate as standard supply, like ammunition or medical equipment. After 6 weeks at Hershey, prisoners understood that chocolate was just beginning. Their rotation to the next facility would reveal that American food abundance extended far beyond chocolate. September 1944. The Coca-Cola bottling plant in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, represented the next phase of education. If chocolate production had impressed, the soft drink industry would astonish. The Harrisburg facility was regional bottling plant, one of hundreds across America. It received concentrated syrup from Atlanta and produced finished product for distribution throughout central Pennsylvania. Prisoners assigned to bottle inspection lines watched the process continuously. Empty bottles entered, were washed, inspected for defects, filled, capped, and cased. The speed of production was remarkable. The plant operated 3 shifts, producing approximately 15,000 cases weekly. Each case contained 24 bottles. That translated to roughly 360,000 bottles weekly from this single regional facility. The standardization astounded technically minded prisoners. Coca-Cola tasted identical across America. Same formula, same quality, whether purchased in Maine or California. The syrup arrived from Atlanta. Local plants added carbonated water, bottled, distributed. This level of quality control exceeded anything German industry achieved for consumer products. The bottles moved past at 6 per second during peak operation. Clear glass bottles with distinctive Coca-Cola script, filled with dark liquid, capped with metal crowns, emerging in endless procession. The casual abundance was even more striking than with chocolate. At least chocolate had substance, calories, nutritional value. Coca-Cola was flavored carbonated water, yet America produced it in quantities that defied comprehension. Prisoners learned the national scale through facility documentation. The Coca-Cola Company produced approximately 5 billion bottles annually by 1944. That number seemed impossible until calculated per capita. Roughly 40 bottles per American citizen yearly, plus massive military contracts supplying servicemen worldwide. The military commitment particularly astounded prisoners. The company had pledged to supply 5-cent Coca-Cola to American servicemen anywhere globally. To fulfill this promise, Coca-Cola established bottling plants near military bases worldwide, including combat theaters. This meant American soldiers fighting in jungles, deserts, and islands could receive cold soft drinks. German soldiers received ersatz coffee made from grain and chicory, water purification tablets, and minimal rations. American soldiers received carbonated beverages delivered to battle zones. The logistics required shipping syrup concentrate globally, establishing bottling facilities, maintaining cold storage, distributing to frontline units, demonstrated organizational capacity that explained American military success more clearly than any tactical analysis. During authorized break periods, Prisoners accessed plant vending machines like other workers. Coca-Cola cost 5 cents per bottle. Daily wages of 80 cents could purchase 16 bottles. Most American workers drank 2 or 3 bottles daily without thought, sometimes leaving half-finished bottles. The waste was casual, routine, unnoticed. One American worker, observing a prisoner's fascination with the production line, gestured at the bottles and shrugged. The meaning was clear. This was ordinary, nothing special, just soda production. The gesture revealed more about American abundance than any statistics. What Germans found impossible, Americans found mundane. After 3 months at Coca-Cola, prisoners understood why German soldiers surrendering to Americans often mentioned soft drinks in testimonies. It wasn't military might that demoralized. It was casual abundance. An army that could deliver Coca-Cola to combat zones possessed logistical capability that couldn't be defeated militarily. The next assignment would reinforce this lesson through the most luxurious product of all, January 1945. Despite winter cold, prisoners were transferred to dairy processing facilities in Reading, Pennsylvania, specializing in ice cream production. The facility supplied ice cream to military bases, hospitals, and civilian markets throughout eastern Pennsylvania. Ice cream had been mythical in prisoner experience. In Germany before the war, it was an expensive treat available in specialty shops during summer only. During the war, it vanished completely. The ingredients, cream, sugar, flavorings, were too valuable for luxury desserts. In America, ice cream was industrial product manufactured year-round. The Reading facility produced approximately 5,000 gallons weekly. Prisoners worked packaging sections, filling containers with finished ice cream for distribution. The mechanization was impressive. Pasteurization equipment heated milk and cream to precise temperatures. Homogenizers created smooth texture. Aging vats allowed flavors to develop. Freezing equipment brought mixtures to exact temperatures while incorporating air for proper texture. Packaging machines filled containers at rates exceeding any manual capability. The ingredient quantities were staggering. The facility received daily deliveries of fresh cream from local dairy farms. Hundreds of pounds of sugar arrived weekly. Vanilla extract by the gallon. Chocolate by the hundredweight. Various fruit preparations for flavored varieties. All ingredients arriving reliably, without shortage, without substitution. Most remarkably, production continued through winter, when German logic suggested it should cease entirely. The facility manager's communications, overheard by prisoners, explained that ice cream was actually easier to manufacture in winter. Cold storage was simpler, and consumption didn't drop significantly because Americans ate ice cream year-round now, not just during summer. This casual statement revealed another gap. In Germany, ice cream was seasonal luxury. In America, it was year-round staple. The refrigeration systems required, in trucks, in stores, in homes, represented infrastructure investment beyond German civilian economy. Prisoners learned that American ice cream consumption had reached approximately 500 million gallons annually by 1944, despite wartime restrictions. That averaged roughly 3 gallons per person yearly, including children. The military contracts were substantial. The facility produced special packaging for military bases. Records showed that larger camps might receive 50 to 100 gallons weekly during summer months. The military considered ice cream essential for morale, not luxury, but necessity. This prioritization mystified prisoners. Germany allocated resources to weapons, ammunition, fuel. America allocated resources to frozen desserts for soldiers. Yet America was winning decisively. The variety available exceeded pre-war German ice cream parlors. The facility produced chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, butter pecan, cherry, and seasonal flavors. Each required different ingredients, different processing, different packaging. The complexity of maintaining multiple product lines while maximizing production demonstrated manufacturing sophistication. The facility cafeteria served ice cream cups to employees for 10 cents during lunch breaks. Prisoners could purchase using camp wages. In January 1945, In American factory, enemy prisoners could buy ice cream for a dime. The contrast with German reality was absolute. German civilians were starving. German prisoners in America were purchasing frozen desserts. The reading facility also produced ice cream for civilian hospitals. American hospitals routinely served ice cream to patients as part of dietary programs. Frozen desserts were considered therapeutic, not just treats. This medical application of luxury food items demonstrated thinking prisoners couldn't parse. In German hospitals, patients received minimal adequate nutrition. In American hospitals, patients received ice cream specifically for health benefits. After 4 months at the ice cream facility, prisoners had witnessed production of luxury items beyond German imagination. The final assignment would reveal the foundation supporting all this abundance. May 1945. The war in Europe had ended. Germany had surrendered. But prisoners remained in American custody, now assigned to sugar refineries in Philadelphia, processing both cane and beet sugar for industrial and consumer use. This assignment would explain everything they had witnessed. The Philadelphia refinery processed raw sugar arriving from domestic beet farms and imported cane sugar from Caribbean sources. The facility produced refined white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, and industrial syrups for food manufacturing. Production scale was massive. The refinery processed approximately 500,000 pounds of raw sugar weekly, producing multiple grades for different markets. Prisoners worked packaging sections, filling bags ranging from 1-pound consumer packages to 100-pound industrial bags. The casualness of sugar abundance explained how America could produce chocolate, Coca-Cola, and ice cream in such quantities. Sugar was foundation ingredient, and America had apparently unlimited supplies. Facility communications revealed national statistics. American sugar production from domestic sources, primarily sugar beets, reached approximately 5 million tons annually. Additional imports brought total availability to roughly 7 million tons. In Germany, sugar was among the most strictly rationed items. Civilians received 280 grams monthly when supplies permitted. Many months, rations weren't filled. German sugar production had collapsed under Allied bombing and resource shortages. The contrast was stark. American civilians complained about sugar rationing of 2 pounds monthly per person, roughly 900 grams, more than triple German allowances. And this was American wartime rationing, considered significant hardship by citizens who had never known real deprivation. Prisoners witnessed incidents that crystallized the abundance gap. In one documented case at the Philadelphia refinery, several hundred pounds of sugar hardened due to humid weather. American managers, rather than spending time and effort to recover it, simply discarded the material and ordered replacement supplies. The ease of this decision demonstrated that bulk sugar was inexpensive commodity, replaceable without concern. German industry would have devoted significant resources to recover every gram. American industry treated hundreds of pounds of sugar as acceptable loss, not worth recovery effort. The difference in mindset reflected different realities: scarcity versus abundance, conservation versus waste as routine cost. The sugar refinery supplied Hershey, Coca-Cola, ice cream manufacturers, and countless other food producers. It was invisible foundation of American food abundance. Control of sugar supplies explained how America could maintain production of luxury items through total war, while Germany couldn't provide basic nutrition to civilians. Facility management communications, overheard by prisoners, casually mentioned that refineries operated below maximum capacity even during wartime. When rationing ended, production could increase another 20% easily. This meant American sugar production, already exceeding German capacity by orders of magnitude, was deliberately throttled and still exceeded requirements. Prisoners realized this explained everything. America wasn't winning through superior tactics or soldier bravery alone. America was winning through productive capacity so vast that it could simultaneously fight global war and maintain civilian abundance exceeding German peacetime standards. Time in American food production facilities had provided education no propaganda could counter. Prisoners had witnessed the foundation of American power, not military might primarily. but industrial capacity creating abundance as matter of routine operation. Throughout their time in American factories, German prisoners had been sending parcels home to Germany. This was the great reversal that nobody anticipated, and that would profoundly undermine remaining belief in Nazi ideology. Using camp wages, 80 cents daily, later raised to $1, prisoners purchased American products from camp exchanges and through authorized civilian store access to mail home. Chocolate bars from Hershey, instant coffee, canned goods, sugar when available, small luxuries that had vanished from German life. International Red Cross records confirm this extraordinary reversal. German POWs in America sent approximately 11 million parcels to Germany during their captivity. Most contained food items purchased with camp wages. This meant imprisoned men were feeding families who remained nominally free. The irony was overwhelming and deliberate. American policy allowed this because it served multiple purposes. It demonstrated humanitarian treatment. It provided prisoners with productive use for wages. Most importantly, it created undeniable physical evidence of American abundance for German civilians to witness directly. Prisoner correspondence, preserved by families and later donated to archives, documents the psychological impact. Letters home described the impossible. Working in chocolate factories, earning wages to purchase products, living better as prisoners than they had as soldiers. The cognitive dissonance was profound. Family responses, when they arrived months later, revealed the impact on German home front. Recipients hadn't seen real chocolate in years. Children cried when tasting Hershey bars. Neighbors asked impossible questions. How could imprisoned enemies send such abundance? What did this reveal about American capacity versus German promises? By early 1945, prisoner parcels had become routine. Monthly packages contained what wages could purchase. Chocolate bars, 5 cents each. Instant coffee, canned meat, powdered milk, sugar when obtainable. Cigarettes, which non-smoking prisoners knew, had trade value. Each parcel was physical evidence of American abundance, arriving in homes, experiencing German collapse. Families shared parcels with neighbors. Word spread through communities. Captured soldiers in American prisons were sending food home while German civilians starved under Allied bombing and economic devastation. The contrast was impossible to ignore or explain within Nazi ideological framework. Prisoner letters attempted explanation, descriptions of factory production scales, Americans producing in one day what Germany managed in months. This wasn't exaggeration. These were eyewitness accounts from men who had seen assembly lines, counted production rates, understood the mathematics of abundance. German censors allowed these letters through because they contained no military secrets, only economic reality. But economic reality was more subversive than any military intelligence. It revealed that Nazi promises of superior German productivity were lies. It demonstrated that American industrial capacity exceeded German propaganda claims by orders of magnitude. By March 1945, with Germany's defeat obvious and imminent, families wrote begging prisoners to send anything obtainable. Food shortages had become catastrophic. Cities were rubble. Distribution systems had collapsed. Starvation was an immediate threat. The response from prisoners demonstrated complete reversal. Letters from this period preserve the stark acknowledgement. Here, as prisoners, they earned enough to purchase chocolate bars and canned goods for cents. There, free in Germany, families couldn't obtain these items at any price. This reversal should tell everything about which system had succeeded and which had failed. Other prisoners experienced identical reversals. Camp records show men working in American food facilities often purchased products from those same facilities to send home. Men producing chocolate sent chocolate to Germany. Men bottling Coca-Cola sent canned goods purchased with Coca-Cola wages. Men packaging ice cream sent powdered milk bought with ice cream facility earnings. The American Red Cross facilitated this program, recognizing its profound propaganda value. German civilians receiving American abundance from imprisoned relatives couldn't maintain belief in Nazi superiority myths. The physical evidence, Hershey bars, Coca-Cola, canned milk, proved American capacity exceeded all German propaganda claims. By mid-1945, with Germany defeated and occupied, parcel flow increased. Prisoners were sending home everything purchasable. American authorities encouraged this, providing special postal arrangements for POW parcels. The statistics preserved in Red Cross records tell the story. 11 million parcels sent from American POW camps to Germany between 1943 and 1946. Average parcel contained 5 to 10 pounds of food items and sundries. Total tonnage exceeded 50,000 tons. Food abundance flowing from imprisoned enemies to defeated homeland. This reversal affected not just recipients, but senders. Prisoners understood they were better fed, better housed, and better treated as American captives than they would have been as German soldiers continuing to fight. The cognitive dissonance was profound, deliberate, and ultimately transformative. Repatriation to Germany began in April 1946. Prisoners returned to a country barely recognizable. Villages bombed, buildings reduced to rubble, food scarce beyond previous imagination. The contrast with American abundance was overwhelming and impossible to ignore. But they brought knowledge that would shape their lives and influence their country's recovery fundamentally. The first realization was immediate and undeniable. Germany had lost not through military inferiority primarily, but through productive inadequacy. Every lesson from American factories confirmed this. Scale, standardization, mechanization, logistics. America had mastered industrial abundance, while Germany had focused on craftsmanship and quality over quantity. The second realization was more subtle, but equally important. Abundance wasn't zero-sum. American prosperity didn't require extracting resources from conquered territories. It came from productive capacity, efficient distribution, and mass consumption, creating markets for mass production. This insight would prove crucial for West Germany's recovery. In 1947, when the Marshall Plan was announced, many Germans viewed it with deep suspicion. Why would America help rebuild enemies? Former POWs, who had witnessed American abundance, became advocates. They wrote letters to local newspapers, spoke at community meetings, explained to skeptical neighbors that American productive capacity exceeded imagination. America could afford to rebuild Germany because their abundance wasn't limited resource. This wasn't weakness or strategic manipulation. This was strength through surplus. Their testimony, multiplied across thousands of former POWs, influenced German acceptance of American aid. These men had witnessed firsthand that American generosity came from genuine abundance, not limited resources that might be withdrawn. Former prisoners found employment with companies importing American food products to Germany. Their experience in American factories made them valuable advisors. They understood American production methods, quality standards, distribution systems. The chocolate bars, Coca-Cola, and canned goods that had been revelations in American camps began appearing in German stores by early 1950s. The German economic miracle of the 1950s was partially built on knowledge gained by POWs in American facilities. These men had seen mass production creating affordability. They had witnessed standardization enabling quality at scale. They understood that consumer abundance created political stability. Industrial democracy could outproduce authoritarian control. These lessons, learned through Coca-Cola and ice cream, shaped a generation of German business and political leaders. Many former prisoners eventually became plant managers for German food processing facilities, adopting American methods. They implemented assembly line production, quality control systems, and distribution logistics based on what they had learned in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and other states. Their success was typical of thousands of former POWs applying American lessons to German reconstruction. The multi-generational impact extended beyond economics and business practices. Former prisoners' children grew up hearing stories of American factories producing impossible quantities. These stories, initially seeming fantastic to children who knew only post-war scarcity, were validated as West Germany recovered and American products became available. Some prisoners' children later studied in America, drawn by their father's descriptions of American organizational capacity. They returned to implement American management techniques in German companies. Others worked for American companies' German operations, career paths their father's prison camp experiences had made possible and attractive. Prisoners' grandchildren grew up in prosperous West Germany, where chocolate was ordinary, soft drinks were ubiquitous, and ice cream was routine purchase. They didn't remember the scarcity their grandfathers had known. But they heard stories of transformation through abundance, stories that shaped their understanding of democratic capitalism and German-American relations. Decades after the war, historians interviewed former POWs about their experiences. The testimonies, collected from the 1950s through the 1990s, show remarkable consistency in themes and revelations. A former prisoner, interviewed in 1972 for a documentary on POW experiences, provided typical testimony. He described entering the Hershey factory in 1944, thinking he understood industrial production from working in German factories before the war. But what he saw in America was different in kind, not just degree. The scale, the efficiency, the casual abundance revealed why Germany lost. Americans were told their country was weak, divided, industrially inadequate. Instead, they found a nation producing chocolate bars by hundreds of thousands daily, bottling millions of soft drinks, manufacturing ice cream through winter, refining sugar in quantities beyond German comprehension. And doing all this during total war while simultaneously supplying military operations worldwide. The most powerful moment, consistently cited across interviews, was sending chocolate home to family from American prison camp. That reversal, imprisoned enemy feeding free family, demolished every propaganda claim. If America could afford such generosity toward prisoners, their capacity exceeded anything German leadership had imagined or admitted. Specific sensory memories carried particular power in testimonies. The smell of chocolate at Hershey after 3 years without. The endless bottles at Coca-Cola, 6 per second, never stopping. The ice cream facility producing gallons through winter, when Germans couldn't obtain it in summer. The sugar refinery discarding hundreds of pounds because it had hardened slightly, treating it as acceptable loss rather than precious resource requiring recovery. Each moment was lesson in abundance, not just having enough, but having surplus, not just meeting needs, but exceeding them casually. America didn't just outproduce Germany. America operated from different assumptions about what was possible. Another former prisoner, interviewed for the same 1972 documentary, recalled working in a Coca-Cola plant for 6 months. The American workers complained constantly. The temperature was uncomfortable. The shifts were long. The pay could be better. Meanwhile, they were drinking Coca-Cola for 5 cents, while Germany was starving. That contrast, that ability to complain about abundance, showed the difference between systems more clearly than any political lecture could have. The historical record confirms these testimonies through multiple independent sources. German POWs in American food production facilities underwent ideological transformation not through re-education programs, but through direct experience of American industrial capacity. The lesson was simple and undeniable. Democratic capitalism had created abundance that authoritarian control couldn't match. Mass production had made luxuries affordable. Standardization had enabled quality. Free markets had generated surplus beyond requirements. A final testimony from a 1985 interview shortly before the former prisoner's death provided comprehensive reflection. He was asked if he was bitter about being captured, about losing years of his life as prisoner. His response was negative. Those 18 months in American factories educated him more than any classroom. He learned why Germany lost, why America won, and how Germany could recover. That knowledge shaped his life and contributed, in small way, to his country's revival. The chocolate bars produced at Hershey, the Coca-Cola bottles inspected at bottling plants, the ice cream packaged at dairy facilities, the sugar processed at refineries, these weren't just products. They were evidence of a system that created abundance through freedom, rather than scarcity through control. That lesson, learned as prisoner, made him free in ways he hadn't been, even when serving in German military. The gratitude expressed in these late-life interviews is striking and consistent. Former prisoners described their time in American factories as gaining truth to replace propaganda, hope to replace ideology, and understanding to replace indoctrination. The irony was perfect and profound. They gained freedom by being captured,